A very popular trick in pen spinning is the shadow, and today I'm going to teach you how to do this trick. The shadow is probably one of the most versatile tricks, meaning that you can do in just about any finger slot and have it start in any finger slot and end in any finger slot. It just takes practice to do each individual one. But once you get the basic movement down, it should be very easy to do it on other fingers. The shadow looks like this. The motion, you have to understand the motion is not a giant whipping motion. That doesn't get the shadow done as efficiently as you'd probably like it to. Notice that when I do the shadow, it's a very slight hand movement or wrist movement. It's more of a sudden jerking rather than a whole hand motion. I do notice that when I started, I did notice that I did have to go like that to get the shadow to work, but it didn't actually help. It doesn't help much in a combo, let's just put it that way. So you got to understand that when you do the shadow, it's a slight hand or wrist movement, and you got to understand that yes, you will have to let go of the pen at some point. A lot of people, when they do the shadow, they actually just end up doing a charge 1-2, which, by the way, I do suggest that you start learning in slot 1-2, because you don't have any other fingers this way besides the thumb to help to like obstruct the path of the pen when it swings over this way. The shadow consists of 1.5 revolutions. The pen starts out with the majority of the weight and the distance of the pen in front of the fingers, as you can see. And the first 0.5 revolutions is done with the pen still in contact between the two fingers. And that would be your first 0.5. The next 0.5 revolutions is totally fingerless, and there's no contact between the fingers. Instead, the pen just spins on top of the two fingers that you're doing, in this case the pointer and the middle fingers, also known as fingers 1 and 2. It'll spin for half a revolution, and we get back to this point, the other 0.5 is done underneath the two fingers. So the shadow looks like this. It's going to take a lot of patience to not do a charge, because I noticed that when I started I just did a charge and I thought I was doing it, but I actually wasn't. It helps to have a mod that has two different colors at the end. You can see that my Victoria has a blue side and a black side, and that helps me keep track of how many revolutions I've done, and that helped me learn the shadow a lot. It also helps to kind of have a weighted pen. Like a normal Victory without all the grips and weights that I've added is really light and has virtually no momentum, so it helps to have a heavier pen. But I really should discourage against lighter pens. Not saying that it's impossible to do it with a lighter pen. It's just easier to practice with a heavier pen, and which is the reason why I'm using this pen to show you, because it kind of also slows the motion of the pen down, so you can kind of see where it's going, and it helps you do that. Now, to start, hold the weight, most of the weight in front. If you look at your hand when it's being straight, you want to kind of tilt it a little bit, just about as far as your wrist will bend this way, maybe a little less, and then flick it to the other side as much as it can go. And when you reach almost the end, but not quite all the way at the end, you want to, while you're doing this motion, you kind of want to do a charge motion, which would be this, but it's very slight. You don't actually do this while you're doing it. You only want the pen to rotate very slightly, like, I don't know, maybe 30 degrees while you're doing this. So you go like this, and then the hard part is letting the pen go. But you have to understand that at one point in time when you're doing the shadow, the pen will spin for a very short second, spin just on the pointer finger, quite possibly, and then when you level out your hand, which is what you should do, the pen will spin on top and then underneath. So there's a time where it's only spinning on this finger, and then you have to quickly slide your other finger under it. It's also very important to have the center of the pen or the center of gravity. Making sure that you don't mix up the two, they're different. But the center of, I guess gravity would be best to describe this, between the two fingers, so the pen can spin evenly, and that it won't spin like lopsided and it'll fall off like that. You don't want that. So basically just take your hand, angle it as far to the, well, if you're right-handed like me, to the far right, if you're left-handed, to the far left, and flick it while doing a slight charge motion. You'll notice that the pen has moved, and that a lot of people, either they have problems with slipping out this way, which you solve by you letting go too soon, I'll say, and you really want to continue to hold it, keep contact between the two fingers until the pen is parallel with your fingers. Only then should you actually let go, and then you quickly want to lower the middle finger in this case so that it's level with your index finger, so that the pen has a level spot to sit on. If it doesn't, like if you're still like this, the pen will probably fall off this way, and vice versa. If your finger's like this, it'll probably fall off this way. So you want it to be really level. And if you have enough momentum, which you should, because a whole part of getting it out from under your fingers is momentum, and if you don't have enough momentum, then it won't do it. So it should continue to spin on top with no problem, and when it gets again parallel, to your fingers again, you want to drop your middle finger or raise your index finger, or both, and then the pen will have room, like over exaggeration here. When it's right here and you go like this, the pen's still going this way, which is counterclockwise right hand and clockwise left hand, and then it'll spin, and then you'll be able to catch it. So that's how you do the shadow. 1 2 1 2. You can also do the shadow 2 3 2 3, or 2 3 to 1 2 2 3 3 4, whatever. But you can start in any position, and you can end in any position. So once you master how to do the shadow 1 2 1 2, you can move on to 2 3 2 3. Still haven't gotten around to that good yet. 3 4 to 3 4, and whatever. And then after you master just doing it from one slot to the same slot, if you want to move up or down the hand, all you have to do is just tilt your hand slightly in more that direction. So saying that if I want to do shadow 1 2 2 3, all I have to do differently is tilt my hand a little bit so that gravity will pull the pen this way. But it takes practice to do that, because you don't want the pen flying off your hand if you tilt your hand too much. It's very slight motion, very slight movement, like that. If you have any questions, you can visit the Universal Pen Spinning Board, upsb.info, or you can post a comment and I'll try to answer it.